Wisdom. It's an incredibly valuable asset. Some would say more precious than gold. It's attractive, appealing, admirable. Conversely, a lack of wisdom is the basis of immaturity, blind spots, and bad decisions. Wisdom. It can be gained over time, but it can't be rushed. But wisdom can be shared. That's precisely what we are here to do right now. Today, we are here to hack wisdom, to distill it, to understand it, and to process it. Why? To get better at life. Welcome to the main thing. This is your new 9-minute podcast. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, and I've set out to interview the wisest people I know. We'll see what we can learn from each one when they're faced with an incredibly difficult, soul-piercing question. Hello and welcome to your Wisdom Podcast. I'm Skip Linneberg and I'll be your host today. Twice a month we bring you a concise, high-impact wisdom lesson, fresh insights and unique perspectives from the wisest people around. Studying their wisdom and learning together, we all get just a little better at this thing called life. In today's episode, you'll hear from one of the most diverse and fearless guests ever to grace our microphones. You'll hear how an incredibly productive, high-achieving entrepreneur manages it all, how a military spouse and her husband coped with long deployments and many months apart, and how the strongest leaders gain tremendous respect by being peacemakers rather than conflict initiators. I can't wait for you to hear from Allison Ibarra in just a few moments. But first, a special shout out of gratitude to our newest patron, John from West Virginia. Thank you so much, John, for your generous financial support that helps underwrite the costs of producing this show. Now, here's a bit more about our wise guest, Allison Ibarra. Allison is a native West Virginian born and raised in Oak Hill. She's a former golf pro who played competitive golf and worked as a teaching professional. As a military spouse married to a counterintelligence agent, Allison Ibarra has lived in many places across America. After many years away from the Mountain State, Allison and her family returned to her home region. Today, she owns and operates a bowling alley as Chief Pinhead at Pinhead's Family Fun Center from the New River Gorge. Allison also serves as the Director of Economic Development in the city of Oak Hill. This respected community leader is also a busy mother of 2 teenage daughters. Allison and I spoke at her home in Fayetteville, West Virginia. So lace up your golf spikes or your bowling shoes and get ready. Over the next several minutes, you will discover why Allison Ibarra is one of the wisest people I know. Allison Ibarra, welcome to the Main Thing Podcast.
Skip, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we are in such a lovely setting out on your front porch. In Fayetteville, it's a gorgeous fall day. The leaves are in full color. Just a little slice of heaven right here.
It is. We're really thankful to be able to live here.
Allison, are you a better golfer or a better bowler?
I'm a better golfer, for sure. I have a tendon injury on my right arm. I can't put any weight really on my hand with a bowling ball if my palm is facing upward.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so it makes that a pretty easy question. It's definitely golf because it's the only of the 2 sports that doesn't hurt me. But I can still ride a mountain bike and hit a speed bag, a punching bag.
Oh, nice.
So for me, it's well enough. I'll take it.
Well, speaking of bowling, you have a bowling alley called Pinhead's Fun Center. I love the name. Why did you decide to open a bowling center, and what do you enjoy most about all that?
You know, the decision to open the bowling center kind of came out of nowhere. It had more to do with the lifestyle of us being able to raise our daughters here in southern West Virginia than it did the business itself. You know, we knew that we wanted to do something that would help build the community up at the same time that we were able to financially support our family. Now that our girls are 12 and 14, I could not imagine a better place to raise them.
I understand this is a community legacy bowling center that you bought and remodeled, modernized.
It is, yeah. So it was originally White Oak Lanes.
Okay.
It opened in 1962.
Okay.
I worked there when I was in high school.
Oh my gosh, wow.
When I graduated high school at Oak Hill High School in 2001, I never imagined coming back to live in a million years.
Yeah.
Went off to college in North Carolina, met Jose, my husband. He was stationed at Fort Bragg. We never in a million years thought we would come back. But now to the bowling alley itself was almost a condemned building when we started this whole process in 2013. So what we wanted to do when we built this back was we wanted to build something that would incorporate more members of the community, more of the visitors that are coming to this area, and then turn around and give it right back to the community.
Yeah.
So in our modernization process, I'm very proud of what we did, and that's exactly how it's worked out. It's something that kids can enjoy. It's something that older generations can enjoy. You don't have to be great at it to have a good time.
Exactly.
So those are some of the things, especially with golf and bowling in particular, that there are very few sports that have that kind of connection to so many generations.
Timeless. Yeah. Play it for the rest of your life. Pinheads Fun Center. Love the name. Is there a website we can link to in the show notes?
There is. I appreciate it. It's pinheadsnewrivergorge.com.
Oh, cool. Okay. We'll tuck that in the show notes for listeners. Let's talk about our mutual friend, Holly Fussell. You know, Holly's a previous guest on episode 112. Tell us a little bit about how you met Holly and how long you've known her.
She is one of the most genuine people that you will ever come across. And she's genuine, selfless. She's a very hard worker. An incredible business acumen as well.
Yeah.
And her ability to be able to tell when is it time to use your head, when is it time to use your heart, when's it time to use the balance, and when's it time to back up and realize that you just messed something up and now you need to either go apologize or correct course. She's such an incredible balance when it comes to business and family and leadership.
Yeah.
And you know, for us as well, we have a similar background being military families.
Yeah. I'd love to hear your perspective on what it's like being a military spouse and your family's journey, how that might have affected and shaped your values, your mindset.
Being a military spouse in particular, there's something during deployments in particular. Jose and I have been through, he was through 9 deployments all said and done.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And some of those as short as 3 months, some of those a year. And in those 9 deployments, we've been together for either 6 or 7 of them. I guess after a while you kind of lose count. You know, we only got to the point where we had spent as much time together as we had apart in 2019.
Wow.
And we've been together since 2004.
Oh my gosh, wow.
He'd spent more time at FOB Salerno in Afghanistan for quite a while than we had together.
Okay.
Jose and I have this understanding that for him, it was very hard to leave our life behind, so to speak, to deploy.
Yeah.
Or to go forward, but it's also really difficult being the one that gets left behind. And
I would imagine.
So one of the lessons that he really taught me during that was this concept of you should set a precedent. So in his, especially where he was in counterterrorism intelligence, he had set the precedent that he was calling home every day. From the first day he showed up. That's not normal in the Army.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Or at least not in what they were doing in counterterrorism intelligence. But he set the precedent right out of the gate. And so it was just an expected thing that he was going to do every day with his team, was he was going to call home.
That became the normal.
That was the norm, yes. So I've taken that in other times in my life where I've decided, you know, this is something that's important to me. So right out of the gate, no matter how uncomfortable I feel, if this is really important to me, right out of the gate, we'll set the precedent. And that's been something that's helped in quite a few situations.
Sure.
Kind of helped me keep my sanity. And, you know, one thing that also I thought changed with being a military family is the time that I feel he should have been spending figuring out how to fix lawnmowers and fix the plumbing and patch the roof. That's been kind of a fun part with being a military family, is how our roles have switched just based on where we were in life and where he was in a deployment.
And as a parent, for your daughters to see that these roles are dynamic, not fixed. It's okay for the husband to cook. It's okay for mom to go fix the breaker when it's tripped. It's okay for mom to mow the grass. You know, you mentioned something, setting a precedent, earlier, and I wanted to thank you for that concept, because Lisa, my wife, and I are in a new life stage, as I mentioned to you when we were getting acquainted, but our kids are both in college now, and we're empty nesters. And so they're close enough. They're 45 minutes from home. And in this adjustment period, I don't know that we'll do this forever, but right now, every Thursday night, we go over and we meet them either in Huntington, or we meet up halfway and we have dinner together as a
That's
family.
great.
We've set that precedent. We haven't missed a week yet. And so that's the new normal, and it helps us all to stay connected and adjust to this new phase.
That's great.
Set a precedent. That gives me language to describe what we're doing. We were doing that intuitively, and now intentionally. I know that we're setting a precedent. So that's cool.
I wonder if that has a similar feel to, when you go to church every Sunday, for example. That's your refresh, not necessarily restart, but your refocus to make sure that what you're doing with your family and with your life is giving honor to the Most High and serving others. Well, you've got to make sure you keep your family together, right? No matter what kind of lifestyles, in my opinion, no matter the lifestyles that we lead, if we don't teach our kids what it means and what it takes to live a life that's worthy of you being a person that can make it to heaven, then our lives have kind of been a waste of time.
Nothing more important. I totally agree. Nothing more important than that. How do you fit it all in? And do you ever feel overwhelmed?
I do feel overwhelmed more often sometimes than I would like to. So if this is the lifestyle that I've chosen, I want to serve others. I want to be the most present mother I can possibly be.
Right on.
So if I want to do these things, and wife and mother, I can't forget the husband.
Right.
None of this works without him. But if I want to do those kind of things, then the overwhelming is just going to be part of it sometimes, and I better figure out how to get myself through it. So I keep a schedule. There are days when my schedule starts at 6:45 a.m. with dropping the 2 kids off at high school.
Okay.
And then it ends at sometimes 9:30 or 10 o'clock p.m. when we're getting back from a volleyball game, or I'm ending a meeting, or whatever the day may be, and every chunk is planned out.
Okay.
And then when I'm finished planning my chunks of time, my time blocks, and I realize that, oh my gosh, I've got several things that I needed to do today that I can't get to. It's just not mathematically possible. That's my cue that it's time to go pay somebody else to do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then just move from there. And that's actually something that I learned from Holly.
Okay.
Was to realize, where are these things that I'm doing and occupying my time with that I don't need to do, that I can pay somebody else to do. Cleaning the house was the best one.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that advice.
Allison Ibarra, what's the main thing you've learned in your lifetime so far?
Skip, the main thing I've learned in my life so far is play the hand you're dealt.
Tell me about that. I love that phrase.
Where I got it from, oddly enough, this would have been, I think it was my second year of college. It was 2001, 2002 time frame. I was watching, at that time in my life, I think people pleasing was probably the main focus. It was I was very concerned with how people thought about me, or how did I look from the outside looking in. So it had nothing to do with how I looked at the world as much as it did this total concern with, well, how do other people view me and what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And it was, what should I be doing right now based on somebody else's made up criteria, not my own. A movie, of all things, go figure, right? It's college.
Okay.
So a movie, it was called Shallow Hal, which is it's a pretty dumb movie, but there's one point in this movie, as I was watching it, that the main character, Hal, looks at this guy named Walt, who has spina bifida, and he's walking on all fours. Somebody else comes in, some other actor from the side, criticizes this guy Walt for his lifestyle.
Okay.
And Hal's response to this critic was, well, he's just playing the hand he was dealt. And that phrase, it's the dumbest place for motivation that I could probably think of. But that phrase stuck with me. I'm always going to have my own unique strengths and advantages. And I'm also going to have my own weaknesses.
Sure.
Well, look at them. I do have strengths and advantages. And I will play to those when I can. Use those to your advantage. And then when you see the things that are your weaknesses, stop and take a look at those too. Does it matter to you? A lot of times it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But until you stop and think about it, you don't realize that it's really not that important. You haven't acknowledged its lack of importance.
Yeah.
So for me, the idea of playing the hand you're dealt, look at what you have going for you.
Let me ask you if I could take you to the golf course and apply that main thing wisdom nugget, that principle, play the hand you're dealt. How might that come into play in a round of golf?
It comes to playing a round of golf the same way it does in life, because there are so many times where you'll have the best of intentions, right? Or my intention is to hit my driver 260 yards right down the dead center of the fairway.
Yes.
So I'll set up, do everything just like I think I need to do to make that happen. Step up to the ball, totally confident, ready to go, and hook the bejesus out of the thing. And the next thing I know, I'm 40 yards off to the left.
Left rough.
Under a bunch of trees, sitting close to a bee's nest.
You're blocked out.
Yes, and I've got to figure out how to play from there. Well, if I'm standing there at this next shot that I have to play to try to get my ball to the green from under the trees, and I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, this is so unfair.
Yeah.
My swing was perfect.
Yeah.
I did not deserve to be here. If you think about that next shot only by considering the shot before, you're doomed.
Yeah.
So look at where you are now, right? That's playing the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I've got 160 yards of a punch shot that I've got to hit a slice under some trees to try to get to the next safe place for me to play on that hole.
Yeah.
So be it.
Right.
This is where I am. Here's what I have. What's my smartest play from here? And so many times in life, I think there are parallels there. What's my smartest play from here?
Yeah.
And then you stop and think, what's important? So in golf, it's like, well, is a birdie important? Do I have to get a birdie? Am I going for the green no matter what?
Maybe what's important is avoiding that double bogey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you'll play it differently for that reason.
Yeah.
And I think when you're looking at decisions in life and you apply this kind of philosophy to a decision, it's the same concept. Well, what's important? Especially when it comes to our business, for example, with Pinheads.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's important? If I'm sitting on a pile of money and my kids don't have anything to do with me, well, that's great. I've ran a very profitable business, Gold Star, congratulations.
Yeah.
But that's not what's important. What's important is that we have a family, that our family's together and we're grateful for one another. We support one another. And on the community side, I want this to be a place that my girls feel like they can come back and make a life if they want to.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
Yeah.
Which means it's not as much money, of course, but I'm okay with that because I get to spend more time playing with my kids than clocking in and out in our business.
That's a great example. Great application of play the hand you're dealt. Yeah.
I also think you can add more cards to your hand, so to speak.
Talk about that.
You can read books sometimes and learn a new skill or a new way to think about something from that book. Well, that's another card you've got in your hand.
For sure. Allison, your main thing, play the hand you're dealt. I love it. It's straightforward. It's powerful. How can a listener take this wisdom and apply it to their life tomorrow? What's an action step someone could take to begin to put this into practice?
I think an action step would be to stop and humbly consider your strengths and what you're good at and what you enjoy. When we compare ourselves to others, sometimes we stop ourselves well short of our potential in some areas.
Allison, from your Facebook profile, I see that you hold dear to the prayer of St. Francis.
I do.
I want to talk a little bit about peacemakers. The first line in that says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Tell me a little bit about that. Why does our world need peacemakers, and why is that so dear to you?
I think we have a choice, whether we realize we do or not. And it's something that my husband and I have really focused to teach our girls too, is the way we react to others and the way we react to situations is a choice. And what we've taught the girls is the way you feel, your reactionary emotional impulse, so to speak, that's not a choice. That you feel how you feel, recognize it, acknowledge it, but then how you act after that first 10 seconds, that's a choice. So when it comes to us being people that can build being someone who can build folks up as opposed to tear folks down. Peace.
Yeah.
Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. That's the meat and potatoes of the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And to me, this concept is we are servants to others. That's what we were put on this world to do, and that, for me personally, is where I find meaning in life, is in service to others, especially my family and especially my community. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So why choose to pick a fight?
Yeah.
That's stressful.
It is. I agree.
And you're always, such as life, right? We're all going to win some and we're going to lose some. But as long as you do the right thing and continue to pursue understanding of what the right thing is, you're going to sleep just fine at night.
I love your main thing. Play the hand you're dealt. And I just want to give you the next bit of time here as open mic time for you to leave our audience of listeners with a thought, an intention, an idea.
Don't think that who you are right now is who you always have to be. We always get better. If we're not getting better, then that was a choice. For me, I love to read. Learning new skills. Your skills that you have don't define who you are. How you treat people, that defines who you are. But skills are things that you learn and you accumulate, and those you get to play when you need them. So just keep accumulating skills. It's really fun. And I think it gives us more options and better outcomes in many, many scenarios in our lives.
Well, that's a great place to leave it. Allison, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on the Main Thing podcast today.
Well, Skip, I appreciate your time. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
So long for now. That goes by incredibly fast, doesn't it? Time flies when you're hacking wisdom. Thank you for listening to this wisdom conversation. If you enjoyed this podcast and found the wisdom lesson valuable, then I encourage you to share it with a loved one or friend. Did you know podcast recommendations from one person to another remain the strongest form of podcast growth worldwide? It's true, and we'd appreciate you helping spread the good word. Let's give a big hearty thank you to the crew of the Main Thing podcast. These are the folks who truly keep the wisdom pipeline flowing. Audio engineer Bob Hotchkiss, strategy advisor Andy Malinowski, public relations and partnerships guru Rachel Bell, social media and digital marketing expert Chloe Linneberg, graphic designer Emma Malinowski, and of course our patrons, those generous folks who provide monthly funding support to help underwrite our costs of production. I couldn't do it without you, nor would I want to. Your feedback matters a lot. If you have a question, a suggestion, maybe an idea, or even a nomination of a future show guest, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at info@themainthingpodcast.com. Did you know you can leave us a voice message through SpeakPipe? Just head over on the web to speakpipe.com/themainthingpodcast. It's just like leaving me a voicemail message. Can't wait to hear your voice, your excitement, all the color and nuance of what you have to say. Let's get it going. You can also engage with us on social media. We're on all the places: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikToks, and Threads. In each of those social places, you can find us by our short name, The Main Thing Pod. Once we're connected there, drop us a comment or simply say hi. Now, you're hearing this, so you obviously know about our podcast. But do you also know about our wisdom newsletter? Well, twice a month we publish our free newsletter containing a fresh wisdom lesson along with news about our latest podcast episode, a word of the week, and even some behind-the-scenes glimpses. Our free newsletter is a great way to stay in touch with us, and you can also learn what's coming up. I also promise to keep you posted on the many new cool things our former guests are doing out there in the world. Now, the best way to subscribe to our free newsletter is to head over to our website, themainthingpodcast.com. Once there, simply find your way to the newsletter sign-up link right there on the homepage. Well, that's a wrap for this show. I'm your host, Skip Linneberg, signing off for now and inviting you to join us again next time for another special delivery of wisdom.